everything at once. People die at work, and then I just kind of hope for the best. It's big workplace, got hundreds, thousands of coworkers, so
Big time contractor shit going on too.
yeah,
Will
people
you
be
relay the message that I say that they have a utter shit show in just Clarkston?
interesting.
Dixie's one.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back for a little unique stream coming out of us that we wouldn't normally have. However, we are going to take a look today at the World Cup in honor of it kicking off for the U.S. men's national team. We generally are a patriotic bunch here in America, so an exciting time. We can look back. So USA, we're first in our group, of course. But when we look at kind of how the friendlies have went for America this year, not the best. We've got the most recent friendly was against Germany, who is one of the better teams consistently in the World Cup. And we only lost to them by 1 point, not bad. Then we played Senegal. Senegal, a good team, ended up winning by 1. Then for Portugal, you'll see we ended up with a pretty bad showing, down by 2. So it would have been kind of -2 points there. So kind of tough, but ultimately, what can you expect? Portugal's a competitive team. Then Belgium as well. Belgium, a good team, don't get me wrong, but the U.S. men's national team has been making leaps and bounds, let's say. What do we got going on here? So looking at generally the World Cup, just from how to watch. Well, first and foremost, it is all going to be on Fox. So every game, all 104 matches, is going to be on Fox or FS1. So you can watch those on the Fox One and the Fox Sports apps, or however you do catch your games. However you get Fox, you'll be able to watch it. So take a quick look here. We've got the group stage, so that's really what we're in right now. So how the whole tournament works with FIFA generally is that you have a very large tournament where every team competes, every nation basically, to get into this tournament, which is the group stage. And the group stage is basically, imagine these are all like round robin brackets, basically, where you play each team, and then top 2 teams and sometimes the third team will move on. So basically, right now, there's kind of a micro tournament going on within each of these groups. And then once you get out of the group stage, the leaders in that group stage will take that next leap onto the round of 32. They'll compete it out, go on to 16, down to 8, down to 4, down to 2. And then you have your champion of the World Cup. So that's kind of the process ahead for the World Cup. But to look at the groups, we've got the United States in Group D as a host nation, and then we've also got our other host nations, Mexico and Canada. Canada in Group B, Mexico in Group A. So ultimately, should be a very good showing out of hopefully all host nations. And just kind of looking at the schedule, yesterday, really the kickoff of the World Cup began with the Mexico South Africa matchup, which ended up being a 2-0 victory. And then you got South Korea versus Czechia, a very good game. South Korea did go off. And then you had last night Canada versus, not last night, earlier today, Bosnia versus Herzegovina, which was a tie. And then you've got tonight the big game, which is going to be USA versus Paraguay. We'll dive into the U.S. men's national team here in just a second. But for those of you that we've got you here, make sure to like, subscribe, notified. That way you can stick with us and be a part of the action. Looking ahead, we've got some of the other games. So Group B will have Qatar versus Switzerland, Brazil versus Morocco, Haiti versus Scotland, and then Australia versus Turkey. So that will be Saturday, competing with the United Bowl for those that are UFL fans. But looking ahead, we got Germany versus Curacao. No disrespect to Curacao. Should be a tough game for Curacao. The Netherlands versus Japan should be a very good game as well. Then you kind of look ahead. All in all, it'll be a great game. The next game for the U.S. men's national team will be, let's see here, June 19th versus Australia. Then we'll see their final group stage game will be in, let's see, final group stage game for the U.S. men's national team will be against Turkey, and they'll be playing in Los Angeles. That'll be a good game. Turkey's probably the best, I would say, most competitive game right off the or matchup right off the rip. But ultimately, there's a lot to look ahead to for the league as well. Though turning now to look at the U.S. men's national team, so we've seen them in some friendlies as we kind of took a peek at in the beginning. But our first actual game will be tonight against Paraguay. It's been a little bit of a tough showing so far for the U.S. men's national team, and ultimately, we don't know who the roster will be just yet. Of course. We may have stumbled into a technical difficulty. However, the U.S. men's national team really, I'm expecting a good performance. You got Policic, who should be pretty good, and then all in all, the country is behind them right now. Lately, international play, most of the American fan base has been a strong part. And there goes that. So we will be right back up and running in just a second, folks. If possible. Technical difficulties, I tell you. Technical difficulties. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We should be back in action. But looking at the squad, kind of who's all on the name. Our goalkeepers, Matt Turner, Matt Freese, Chris Brady. Matt Freese seeming like the favorite to go into the season here. And then we've got Sergio Dents, some other players as well. Policic, Freeman, McKenzie, Trusty, some notable names. Group stage challenge. Let's check it out. Lock in your play. Oh, it's just the bracket challenge. Classic. So you can do build a bracket for the World Cup, which should be a good time for them. But kind of looking all time at the U.S. men's national team in the World Cup. One, we haven't made it every single time, but we've been pretty good as of late. 1990, 94, 98. 80s, not so much. 60s, not so much. But basically 1990 on, we've been in basically every single one. And we did get to host once before in 1994. So second time with us as a host nation. And our best finish was in 1930 with a third place finish. All in all record, we are 9, 8, and 20 in the World Cup. So many a draw, which better than losing, but ultimately you need to win sometimes to be able to get the win. Then looking at all-time goals scored, seeing 40, goals allowed 66, so not the best differential. Most appearances by a single player, Landon Donovan, pretty good. 12 games across 3 World Cups. He also had the most goals. Burt Patanude, 4 in 1930, pretty impressive. All-time finishes, 2022, they lost to the Netherlands in the round of 16. 2018, they didn't even qualify. Lost to Belgium. So pretty much we make it to the round of 16, it would seem. 2006, though, 4th in Group E. That's a tough group stage exit. Not even getting through to the round of 32. Well, I don't think the round of 32 existed back then, actually. I believe the round of 32 was a new expansion that was new in the more recent years. So I believe round of 16 was literally just making it through the group stage. So kind of tough performances for the U.S. men's national team throughout most of history. So, and then we get to this long period where we didn't even qualify, and then of course, there were some changes during the 1940s that kept the World Cup from occurring. But ultimately, the U.S. men's national team does have a storied history as a part of, competing in the World Cup. And ultimately, while we haven't performed too well in the past, why not us? So we do kind of get an idea at our predicted lineup tonight, and ultimately these do change game to game, but this is who we think will be kind of taking the field for the U.S. men's national team. So Matt Freese in the goal. Then you got Ream, Robinson, Richards, Freeman playing defense. Your midfielders are going to be McKennie, Adams, Tillman, and then your attackers or forwards, Dest, Balogun, and then Pulisic. Expect some good performance. You know, we've got some good players. So when you look at the top 100 players, and this does give us an opportunity to kind of look at the other teams. So just right off the rip, looking at the top 100 players, you know, you're going to see America has, I believe, 2 players on here, which not a terrible showing. You know, when you look at, 100 through 99, you got Argentina, France. We'll see France many a time. Sweden's got a couple. Ecuador, South Korea. Kim Min-jae last night in the game against Czechia, the Czech Republic, I believe, put up a good performance. And then looking at the next 5, we got Portugal, Spain, France, Japan, England, and ultimately you'll start to see a trend here as we go through these. A lot of the best players that we'll see in the World Cup are going to be on some of these teams that are favorites to go deep. You know, Mexico, Turkey, that's in our group. Casemiro. Then you got Marino. All these players are on some of the best teams. So there's some opportunity to for the U.S. It could end up being a tough showing. But you look across, South Korea's got some talent. England's got some talent. Netherlands have some talent as well. But England, Spain, France, you're going to see them on this list quite a bit. As we go on to the next one, let's see, more France. Oh, Pulisic sitting at the 79 spot. So kind of a good showing, I would say. Ultimately, what I'll say about Pulisic, 79. There's a lot of teams that we haven't seen that are competing in the World Cup that we haven't seen on this list. So at least having one in the top 80, pretty good performance for America. We can expect, I'd imagine. Then our next player, Weston McKennie, who is going to his midfielder. So McKennie will be kind of in that central position, Pulisic. So expect these two to really contribute, throughout the game. They very well may, contribute to us getting a victory, and that would be, the country will rally behind this team, especially if they pick up a couple wins early on. Don't be surprised that they really can become America's team, and there's no reason, I mean, the odds may be slightly stacked against them, but we will see. Des could be, all these players could very well influence the game. So we look at in their club team, McKennie plays for Juventus in Italy. Pulisic plays for AC Milan. So both of them playing in Italy, competitive league. Then we got our next. So you see Senegal. Hey, we were able to beat Senegal. They got the 70 ranked player. Then you got Brazil. There will be a good, very competitive team. France, though, has been dominating the top 100 players, and that trend will continue. Then you got Spain, France, Croatia. Okay, Netherlands, Brazil. A couple more rotating in here. Then we got Mohamed Salah in Egypt. Good performance out of Mr. Salah, I expect. Then you got Pacho, McTominay for Scotland. Heck yeah. So, taking a look around, we've got our next 5. So 55 to 50. Senegal, another player here. So actually has better ranked players, Senegal does, than America. So that is a good sign. In the friendly, we were able to get a victory. Maybe there were some injuries, but ultimately, player wise, they have better talent, and we were still able to get a victory. So I think that's a good sign for the U.S. men's national team. Then you got Norway, Argentina. Argentina will be a good team, decent team. Spain, though, and France are kind of rising as some of the favorites as we head into the World Cup for this year. Then 50 to 45, pretty much, we've got Spain, Netherlands, Argentina, Brazil, Portugal, some of the bigger names heading into the season or into this tournament. So don't be surprised if the U.S. has to run through one of these teams. Hopefully not France, seeing as France has had probably about 20 of the top 40 or 60 players so far. Um, but Germany starts to enter the fold here. Let's see, Belgium as well. Turkey from France. Then you got Portugal, Ronaldo. Then you got Doku from Belgium. Another French player. Netherlands, Belgium. A lot of European players, let's just say. That's no surprise, of course. So looking at our next group, 30 to 25, a Canadian. Canada ended up taking the draw today. So did not end up getting the win, but was able to at least avoid a defeat. So a decent performance if you're a Canada fan. So we're keeping it moving here. 25 to 20. Another French player, a Ghanaian, uh, Colombian, German, and Brazilian. And those teams are all going to be competing. Ghana, maybe not so much, but who knows? Anything could happen. England takes the 20 to 15 spot. Messi here in the 16 spot. Portugal will be a good team. Ecuador's got some good players as well. Let's see who else we've got here. Rapina, Rodri, Alvarez, Fernandez, Uruguay with the 11th best player in the World Cup. That gives them a shot. But America nowhere in the top 50 when it comes to players. And some would say not even anywhere really in the top 100. Then you look at our top 10 players. You got Pedri from Spain, Vitinha for Portugal, Hakimi for Morocco. Morocco is a dark horse. Don't be surprised if they go deep in this year's World Cup. Then you got Brazil, Holland from Norway. Holland may have a good performance this year. It's hard to say though. Anything could happen in the World Cup. Anything. And looking at our top 5 players, you got Olise, Dembele, and then Mbappe. So not only have we already seen 15 plus of the top 100 players in the World Cup coming from the French team, 3 of the top 5 players will also come from the French team. So no surprise that France won last year's World Cup. But ultimately, best player or most favorite player kind of heading into the World Cup is Lamine Yamal out of Spain. So expected to come down England, France, Spain, maybe even Germany might have a shot, Brazil. We'll kind of take a look at the bracket here in just a second if we can. So here is one kind of predicted bracket out of Star News Korea, kind of the knockout stage that would start. So basically, you get into your round of 32. Then so we start to hollow down. So you see Norway, Brazil. Brazil goes against England. Brazil goes on, gets into the final 4 basically, taking on Argentina, France, and Spain. Duking it out, which I would expect as well. Where do we find America on this list down here with the USA losing to Argentina, it would seem. So could happen. Argentina will, they are predicted to go pretty deep. But if the bracket ends up shaking out this way, the USA may end up playing Iran, which could be one of the more interesting World Cup matchups that of all time. Two countries that are actively at war ended up facing off in the game. That would be a pretty crazy situation if you think about that. But to kind of get a look at how the countries of the world are reflected in the World Cup, we do notice there is some noticeable gaps. But ultimately, when you think about the central focus of soccer, it has very much been Europe throughout history. But then also, not only throughout history, but also when you look at some teams that, because every country has a soccer team, but not every country is able to make it through the pre tournament to qualify for the World Cup. Because sometimes the American team doesn't even make it. But if you look here, you're missing Russia, no surprise there. You're missing China, India, some very large portions of the world. When it comes to Africa, pretty well reflected with, let's see, 6 countries, no, 7 countries. Then Australia gets in, New Zealand gets in, which is kind of surprising. Both of them did get in, but really the Asia part of the East Asian or portion of the continent really missing some representation, and ultimately you got to compete. South Africa gets in, Brazil gets in, Uruguay gets in, Ecuador, Colombia, Curacao gets in. It's a competition to get in to the World Cup, and ultimately you got to earn your place in the group stage. And if you're not able to do it, don't be surprised if you don't make it in the game. So looking at that and kind of understanding where the U.S. men's national team is, at least when it comes to our placement on kind of some of our players when in the top 100, we are sitting in the like 60 to 70 range. So it may end up there's a talent issue. Talent, your team can be as good as your team is, but without some star talent, you can be in for a long tournament. And ultimately, we are not in a terrible place because especially when you look at just the Senegal example, we did end up defeating Senegal. But when we did defeat Senegal, it was all about, I suppose more team effort than anything else. They had slightly better players, but at the same time, when you look at Weston McKennie, the 73rd ranked player heading into the tournament, so should be a good time for America, and we can at least root behind McKennie, Pulisic. Guy's a baller. People are going to be excited to see him play. And then when you look at Pulisic, he should be America's going to rally around this team. Captain America, as they call him. 27 years old, 84 appearances for the U.S. men's national team. 32 goals, 25 behind Landon Donovan. So ultimately a strong favorite heading into the World Cup. So should be an exciting time. And we do have some players to watch when it comes to what we've got ahead for the World Cup. If anything would ever load, we will look a little bit deeper. So looking at the predicted lineup, Freeze is more than likely who will be starting tonight at the goalie position, but then also we've got Ream, Robinson, Adams, Tillman, Richards, Freeman. A lot is going to be riding on the defenders playing the play of the defense for the men's national team. While people are saying that America doesn't have the best shot, we've seen some more unrealistic things happen. So if the U.S., what does victory look like for the U.S. men's national team? I'd say getting to the 32 first. That's the first step. Getting through. Anyway, sorry, I was doing a little chat roundup here, and we may be chopping it up. May just be chopping it up. I may know ball. Is America ass? I don't think America's ass. I think people are talking like America's ass, but I do not think America is ass. Not one bit. Ultimately, quite the pontificator. Hey, you know the pronunciation of Polchik is tough to pronounce. So I would appreciate if someone could sound it out in the chat. Chat, 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 chat. Can we sound out the chat? Possibly, maybe, never. If anything ever loads, we will take a look at our games that we had yesterday and look ahead to the games that we have uh, coming up. We also will have taken a look at kind of some of the lines for tonight, which should give us a good idea of what we can expect, especially on the more, I say, financial side of things. We'll give things some time here, give things some time. Something's got to give eventually. Something's got to give. For those that are on the tab police, how are we doing tab police wise? Yeah, dude, we be pontificating. The chat be chatting. We be chatting. If anything would ever load, we will see a little more about what we can expect heading into the game today. But seems I have encountered an issue. Yep, we looking at we got the men's national team. So, who of you, chat, who you think's going to be kind of arise as the star out of this men's national team? Let me sound off in the chat. Who are we who are we thinking is the favorite, I suppose, heading into to be kind of Captain America? Is it going to be one of the forwards, the midfielders, the defenders, the goalie? Who is America going to rally behind? Let me hear it in the chat. Who are you going to be rallying for? My Tawx tribe. If it ever allows me to. Hell yeah. This is a high quality production out here. That's what I'm talking about. We love it, we love it, we love it. We absolutely love it. Tab Police. Robinson, Tim Ream. Oh, we're rooting for Ream. Okay. Okay. The captain of the team. Okay. Robinson. Robinson could be the guy. But yeah, Ream gonna be, he's locked down on defense. He's locked down. Then you got McKenny, Balogun, Dest. How do we feel about Dest? Are we W's for Dest or not? W's for Dest, W's for Tillman. What about Freeman? How do we feel about Freeman? What about the goalie selection? People said Freeze is kind of the favorite, but ultimately there were some questions, possibly some changes that could occur. How do we feel about the goalie position? Are we excited for a free sled goalie? Is that going to be enough to protect the team throughout the season? We will have to see. There's just absolutely nothing working here. Give me just 1 second. All right. Let's give it another shot. We're back in it. We're back in. We may be back in, potentially. It is hard to say. Give us time here. Give us time. We may be back in action. Just 1 second here. Okay, okay. We are back in action. Apologies. Okay. Checking out our scores kind of from our first day of the World Cup. We've got. You think Tim Reams is really the only one that plays for his club? He's that good? I'm interested to see how Reams does tonight then. But our first game, kind of the kickoff of the World Cup, was Mexico. Mexico did get the honor to have the first kickoff uh, and really be the one to kick off all the festivities. It was a great game yesterday for those that did get to watch. And then our night game yesterday was South Korea versus Czechia, which is the Czech Republic, of course. 2-1, so we got 2 victories yesterday. Not always are we going to see that. Like today, we saw a draw earlier today between Bosnia and Herzegovina versus Canada. But United States and Paraguay, if we kind of check in on that game tonight, that is the one we'll be looking ahead to and ultimately kicking off shortly in about 36 minutes. So should be an exciting game. USA is a half-point favorite. We don't know. Okay, so that prediction is pretty much aligning with what we're seeing here. We got Ream Freeze. Let's see what we got for Mr. Ream. Charlotte Football Club. Oh, little MLS star. Okay. Let's see how his performance has been so far this season. He's got 11 starts. Not too bad. He's got 1 shot. Not bad, not bad. Against the... He started again in the friendly, so that's a good sign. Look at him go. Ream, let's see who else we got here. Dest. Sergio Dest plays for PSV. Interesting. Interesting. So the American players really going to be playing all over the place. Let's check out Freeze. New York City Football Club, NYFC. Okay. Playing a... Oh. That's in 10 days they'll be playing. He must not be playing, of course. So Freeze, pretty good performance, as always. A lot to look forward to for this game. Looking at the odds, sitting for the money line. U.S. is plus 105, and then Paraguay sitting at plus 310. So they're not too sure who is going to end up getting the win. Total is 2.5. Odds are is that it hits the over there. That'll be 3 points, so probably 2-1. Screen might be frozen. Screen might be frozen. Thank you, chat. What would I do without chat? 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 Are we frozen, chat? Are we still frozen, chat? We may be frozen, chat. Let me see what the heck's going on here, chat. Oh yeah, chat, we might be frozen. I'm on it. Don't worry. Alright, how's that, chat? We should be back in. So, sorry about that. Checking out United States versus Paraguay, kind of previewing the game ahead. USA, half-point favorite. Over-under sitting at 2.5. Then we've got total, or I guess the total being 2.5. Spread, U.S. is a half-point favorite, so odds are will be the one with 2 points, whereas Paraguay will be having 1. But the draw is always an option, of course, which is sitting at plus 220. Could occur. Last 5 matchups between these two teams, nothing really recently except for last year's matchup in an international friendly, which was a 2-1 game. But ultimately, mainly just friendlies than you see in Copa America a decade ago. So not too much history with this team, but should be an interesting result when you look at kind of the history this year in some of the friendlies leading up to the World Cup. U.S. has only been able to beat Senegal. We played good teams. What about Paraguay? They played Nicaragua. Is this Greece, Mexico? Wow, they were able to beat Mexico. Okay, so we might be in for a tight game, but we were able to beat them last year, so maybe we'll be able to squeak out a victory again this year, if we are lucky. Oh, we got problems. We got problems, chat. Chat, we got problems. I apologize. I apologize. How's that, chat? OBS is going wild. We'll do a little chat roundup real quick. Yes. Yeah, Freese is the only one that plays for his team. That's okay. Hey, nobody can see the Tawx, the goalie. Oh boy, Tawx. Everybody's Tawxing. Screen might be frozen. Screen is not responding. Bad rock, bad rock, bad rock. OBS can be kind of a tough time sometimes. But we'll look ahead now to kind of the bracket for the World Cup, because basically what's going to happen once we get through the group stage, we'll get into a situation where you have 3 1 seeds coming out of each group, and then 3 2 seeds coming out of each group, and then 2 3 seeds across 4 groups, basically. So that's basically how the seeding will shake out, and basically there'll be 4 mini brackets where you'll have 3 1 seeds, 3 2 seeds, and then 2 3 seeds, and they'll all kind of duke it out, giving us a contender into our final 4. So when we look at this bracket here, you got in the round of 32, and this is just kind of a prediction coming out of Star News Korea, but you got America down here taking on Iran, which could be, there's a very strong possibility America and Iran get to compete against each other in this year's World Cup. Could be one of the more interesting dynamics in World Cup history, especially given the active war that's going on. Then you got Portugal and Senegal. Portugal taking the push there, and then Canada versus Egypt. Egypt could pull it, but odds are Canada will. So we'll have to see exactly how that all shakes out. But then at the same time, when you look at England, Uzbekistan, should be a good matchup. England will probably take that. Mexico versus Scotland. Possible that Mexico gets the win. Scotland could also get the win. Tough to say on some of these teams. Then we got Norway and Ecuador, Brazil and Japan, and then you get into Norway. Then you have quite interesting things that may occur. Let's see what happens here. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I think I just broke OBS. Chad, are you still with me? I hope Chad is still with me. Chat, please still be with me. We're checking it. We're working on things. We got some more technical difficulties. OBS said, I know that you are trying to have fun, but sir, that is not allowed. So, give me just 1 second as we figure it out here. We are on our way. Awesome. Let me see what we've got. And then do our chat. Little chat roundup. Reams is our man. Nothing's going to give. Nothing did give. But hey, we are into it. So what can you do about that? Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Yes, OBS. No, we gone. What do you mean? We're back. We're back in it. We're back in it. America very well has the chance to compete against Argentina to get themselves into kind of this Elite 8 position, which if that happens, don't be surprised if, the team, the country is really behind the team. So once we do end up getting to the round of 32, the round of 40, I mean, not round of 40, the 16 quarterfinals and then the semifinals, expect there to be some interesting dynamics at play, because a lot of people do expect some of the favorite teams to get in. So, like, we could see Germany and France have to duke it out with each other, and then France has got the Netherlands. So they could end up with an easier path on the back end, with some, high-level competition out of some of these 1 seeds, which ultimately it'll lead to some good matchups. And as the fans, gives us a lot to watch at the same time. So there is that to be excited about. OBS, old broken stuff. Oh my goodness. Sounds like this guy ain't got no friends. I do not have friends. That is quite correct. That is why I come live to talk to all of you and fight with OBS for fun. That is all I like to do, if you didn't know. But regardless, looking ahead at the World Cup, should be lots of action in store for us. So looking again at our World Cup map, heavy representation off the Western Hemisphere. But ultimately, Europe is very heavily represented. Also, some of the better football teams. And when you remember that to get into the World Cup, you win in the pre tournament. Ultimately, they are where you find a lot of the talent when it comes to the soccer world. So no surprise that they are heavily represented in the World Cup. And then kind of looking ahead at some of the rules that we can expect in the World Cup. There's kind of so first off, 48 teams go into the World Cup out of all 198 countries. 48 get in. They get broken into those 12 groups, and then those 12 groups which one there was an expansion of 16 teams from the 2022 the last World Cups. So now there was 32 teams and now there's 48. So once the group stage ended, you went immediately into the round of 16. Well, now the round of 16 is a step past that round of 32. So there is kind of one more games, of course, but ultimately, it kind of complements the structure with the three host countries as well. And you look at some of these other rules like VAR, which is a video audio review, I think. It's more like to determine penalties, so there will be some review in case things happen. And then this extra time. So there is no overtime, basically. It's all extra time. And this is something that can be slightly confusing because basically you can get up to two 15-minute extra halves. So basically, like imagine after each half, you play for an additional time up to however much to that 15-minute level based on how much time was kind of taken away from play based on where the game was at. And then like red cards. So this is interesting. When you get a red card, you're ejected from the rest of the game. Plus, your team must play the remainder of the match down a player. So there is no replacements. And we ended up seeing that in our first game of the World Cup with the Mexico-South Africa. Ended up going down to only 3 players, which so far, wasn't the best performance out of South Africa. So I'm sure they're not too excited about it. But you saw them with go down to only having 9 players on the field competing against Mexico with a full squad. So this red card nature could be quite interesting, especially with the fact that you go down to players. So some that could end up influencing quite a few games, but don't be surprised if that rears its head in almost every single game or not. It all depends on how they play. Then when you get to penalty shootouts, you end up getting 5 players basically each gets to kick the ball. And then there's all that, and you got handball at the World Cup. That's basically when. So a handball is basically when someone touches the ball with their hand, of course, but they'll get a free kick from that spot of the infringement and then be able to basically get a free kick. Then offside, how is that going to work? Generally on the referee call. So don't be like the referees are going to influence these games. So like there could be many a storyline that comes out like, oh, screw the refs, they're doing this, they're doing that, which I would not be surprised if that occurs. But how can you watch? Of course, tonight's game with the USMNT national team, but also across all of the games, you'll be able to watch them on Fox. But interestingly enough, Tubi will actually have, they had yesterday's kickoff game, so they'll basically have the host nation games. But you'll be able to watch tonight's game for free on Tubi as well. And that's a 9 p.m. kickoff. So kickoff in about 13 minutes for us, or 23 minutes for us. So should be a very unique experience, especially with, there's definitely some buy-in this season off just the, general fact that, like, America's been very interested in what I would say is more they are very interested in the international dynamic. The fact that like we are able to beat countries and we're able to get that sense of victory over them without having to go to war or different things like that. But looking at some of the current spread right now for the game tonight, current money line is sitting at for a U.S. men's national team win plus 105, a draw sitting at plus 220, and then Paraguay for the win is plus 310. So when you look at the percentage of money play, so where is the money currently at right now? You got the USA sitting at 94%, and that is a result of, guess what? Who's going to be betting on DraftKings? I guarantee they're not betting too much in Paraguay, and I'd be amazed if the sports book could even do that. But if you were to look on Kalshi, I'm sure the odds are looking much more interesting when you get into kind of some of these more international markets. Let's see what the World Cup's got. First off, predictions for the winner, Spain and France are both sitting at. So U.S. Paraguay right now. When you look at the share, 27% on Paraguay, 48%. Current share, okay, so draw is sitting at 31%, which is like actually kind of impressive. But the United States are basically sitting at a 50% chance to win when you look at Polymarket. Then let's look at our live stats here. You'll be able to follow the game. Oh, wow, look at that. Well, that'll be good to know for later. But looking back then at what we can expect player-wise, total goals for the over for tonight sitting at plus 140, under is sitting at minus 175. So Vegas thinks that it could end up being a draw or even less. But when you look at goal scorer, current favorite to get a goal is going to be Christian Pulisic. Then we got the goal scorer as the first goal scorer. Anytime is 235. Balogun sitting at 225, so he's the favorite to get one tonight. And then no goals scored. Got plus 750 for no goals scored, which would be very, very bad for the U.S. men's national team. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but ultimately we will get a chance to look into that and see what we might be able to glean from that. Let's see, shots on goal for teams, money line for the halves. USA is taking a plus 195 to be winning at the half. Paraguay plus 370. USA at plus 140. Paraguay at plus 290. So it'll be interesting to see there exactly what happens. And then they got games on all of them. Let's see what our Qatar-Switzerland is looking like. Switzerland's taking all the money at 81. No surprise. You think Qatar's able to field a good team, though. Germany and Curacao. Germany sitting at 94. Curacao with a 2.3% chance to win on Poly. That's crazy work. Like I said yesterday, no disrespect to Curacao. They will compete, but ultimately they may be in for a tough situation. Betting on the score, which if you are, sir, please call the phone number. But we're sitting at 1-0. USA is plus 475. 1-0 plus. What is the favorite score? The favorite score prediction is USA 1-0, which could happen, and that would make the under hit. Ooh, I don't know that happens. More than likely, it ends up being a 2-1, which is sitting plus 800. Which honestly, interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what happens here. There is some interesting dynamics with the World Cup, especially, a lot of these teams, they don't play together very often because all the players are off kind of on their own. They're doing their own thing, basically. They play for their own teams all over the world. Let's see how the current money is sitting. The bets coming in. 2% from Japan, hell yeah. More than 1% basically from most countries. But the big favorite users of Polymarket are Spain. I'm surprised. Spain's sitting at 17% and France is sitting at 17%. Or is that the odds to win? I hope that's not the odds to win. Let's see. Let us see. Check a quick chat roundup. All this foot fairy talk. Hey, we'll be getting to our UFL talks here in about 45 minutes. Do not worry. Hey, we got soccer knowledge. But anyway, that's kind of our look ahead to the World Cup and what we've got ahead. So one thing I will say, we do got a lot riding on the U.S. men's national team. So do not be surprised if the country starts to come behind this team. It should be an exciting dynamic to watch. And we will be checking in on tonight's game in our UFL talk stream, which will be kicking off at about 9:30 p.m. tonight. So those that would like to join us then and participate in the discussion, we will kind of switch our focus for most of it to discuss the United Bowl, which will be kicking off tomorrow and will be airing on ABC. Should be a wonderful time for those that like American football, but also for those that are interested in football. We should have a lot to look forward to. But those of you that are joining us now, we expect or hope to see you in the stream later on this evening for the UFL talks. But until then, we will see you when we can. Thank you again for joining. Make sure you're like, subscribe, notified so you can stay a part of the discussion. But until then, hope you have a wonderful night. Enjoy the game tonight. It's the kickoff of the World Cup. It should be an extraordinary time. A lot riding on this game, especially or on this tournament, especially the fact that it is going to be in America. So one of the better times, I think, for the country, especially an opportunity to showcase ourselves. So let's hope for a great World Cup and appreciate you joining us. Have a great evening. Enjoy tonight's game. We'll catch you for our next coverage, which will be continuing for the World Cup as well as for the UFL. Thank you for joining us today. Bye now.